Welcome back to the Post Credits Podcast, where we talk about movies after the credits roll. My name's Jesse.
I'm Max.
And my name's Logan.
And today, we're recording in a little bit of an unconventional setting. This is our first ever virtual recording. We're not in the same place, so if things are a little weird, you'll forgive us. But today, we're going to be talking about the sequel to the movie that released last year that's actually the second part of a movie adaptation of a musical that's based on a novel, itself based on a movie, based on itself a stage play, which is also based on a series of books. This is Wicked for Good.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just me, but did anybody else feel like that intermission went on just forever? I mean, ever since the credits rolled on the last one, the intermission, it's been almost a year. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, the previous entry in this John M. Chu directed series was called Just Wicked. It released, I think, last November, around the same time.
Yeah.
So we have been waiting a full calendar year for this follow-up and conclusion to the story. As always, let's ask the question, how'd y'all learn about this one?
I saw the commercials for it probably when it first got announced to the public. Mainstream wise, I mean, I've never seen the first one and I still haven't, so that's my perspective. And yeah.
That is a thing for this, which is me and Max, we've both seen the original Wicked.
Yeah.
And we both like the original Wicked. Logan has not seen the original Wicked, and I don't think you've seen it live either, have you?
No.
Okay, so we've got two different perspectives happening here.
Yeah, I guess for me, I feel like I'm one of like 10 people that like doesn't know what the story of Wicked is, at least when the first movie came out. I didn't realize it was about the two witches or something. I had literally had no idea what Wicked was about until seeing the first movie. Really surprised me. I was really not excited for it at all. But, you know, it was one that surprised me and I was really looking forward to the second one just because of it. You know, a bunch of my friends are big musical fans, musical nerds, so I was more than likely to see this one.
For me, I knew that it was coming out after the first one got a ton of nominations at the Oscars and people were talking about, oh, there's going to be a sequel to Wicked coming out in 2024 because the musical is split into two acts with an intermission in between. So this would be the movie adaptation of the second act of the musical. And I as well have a bunch of friends who are musical theater nerds, and they were all stoked out of their mind for this movie. Speaking of all the Oscar nominations that Wicked got, the first Wicked was an absolute Oscar and critical darling. It got above 90s on both scores on Rotten Tomatoes. It scored, I think, 8 nominations at the Oscars.
I think something around that. Definitely got a lot.
Including two acting Oscar nominations for Cynthia Erivo and one for Ariana Grande. A director nomination for John M. Chu.
I think so. And then also making history with costume design.
Yes.
The first black man to ever win costume design for his work on Wicked.
He certainly did. Plus production design, sound. I didn't win song because none of the songs were original.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
true.
it was nominated in a bunch of texts and then 4 nominations above the line, which is a very, very impressive showing for a movie. This one, a lot of people were operating off of some level of borrowed trust when talking about what the Oscars are going to pick. Wicked for Good made a lot of people's Best Picture 10 at the beginning of the year. Cynthia and Ariana still being predicted, especially in the tech categories. Wicked for Good is doing great on predictions, so generally people seemed pretty high going into this sequel. However, I remained slightly vigilant of this movie. I know Max put it at like number 3 on his most anticipated.
It was definitely in the top 10 for sure. I knew like when we were going to record our list, I was like, oh, I don't know if Jesse's going to like this one.
I didn't have it that high because I thought the first was good but not great. And plus, I know, because I have so many friends who are musical theater nerds, that the second act of this play is generally considered to be a lot rougher than the first act.
Yeah, which I guess for me, I didn't realize at the time until actually fairly recently that the second half was worse. Primarily because you were telling me, and then also I asked people that are big Wicked fans, like, yeah, the second half isn't as good. And I was like, great. I wish I knew that at the beginning of the year when I was doing all my lists, because I viewed it as Wicked 2, not Wicked Act 2, or I guess like adaptation of a second act of a musical, which I didn't realize was a lot less well received.
Yeah, and the thing is that Wicked as its own movie is a full story. It doesn't feel like it needs an act 2. It's not begging for more. And it does feel like a continuation that breaches into some of the elements of the original Wizard of Oz story that felt it just feels a little unnecessary for the story that they set up in Wicked, which was in itself really, really good. So, does anyone else have anything to say, or shall we jump into the plot?
Say we jump in.
Yeah, I agree. Let's jump into the plot.
Let's do it. This movie picks up a couple years after the first Wicked leaves off. We get a little medley of a bunch of tunes from the first act of Wicked to tell us basically what's happening. Glinda the Good Witch, who is in this adaptation played by Ariana Grande, has become the sort of spokesperson for the Wizard of Oz, who is in this adaptation played by Jeff Goldblum. We also get a little bit showing how reviled Elphaba, which is the Wicked Witch of the West, named after the author of the original Wizard of Oz, L. Frank Baum, in this adaptation played by Cynthia Erivo, how awful everybody thinks she is. And we learn in the first Wicked that she's not that good. She just misplaced her trust in the Wizard of Oz, and now the wizard is trying to make it seem like she's so bad. It's propaganda. Fair enough. We catch up with Elphaba, what she's doing. She's still advocating for animal rights. In this land of Oz, animals have the ability to talk and are intelligent. However, this idea is so foreign to the wizard, who, if you've read The Wizard of Oz, you know is actually from far, far away in the United States of America, wherever that is. And he doesn't see that as natural, so he's trying to suppress the animals and is using the animals as labor to build his yellow brick road, the fanciful walkway from the original book. We also catch up with a character from the original, from the first Wicked, that is, known as Fiyero, played by Jonathan Bailey. He was a classmate and love interest of both Elphaba and Glinda in the first movie, and now he's become the leader of the Ozian police force, essentially. And he is engaged to Glinda the Good Witch, and they plan to get married. Okay, we have caught up with...
Or at least she plans on getting married to him, with the way it plays out.
She announces that they're getting married in a public setting without Fiyero's prior knowledge.
Which, first of all, that's not how you announce a marriage. It's like, my man looks so confused. Just like, oh, we're getting married. He's like, wait, we didn't talk about this. And I was just like, don't proposals, one, happen the opposite? And also, aren't both people on the same page? Isn't that how it works? I don't know. I guess that's just something that I noted, but... And I guess it just adds to, Glinda and her character.
A little bit. And they play it off as somewhat of a joke in the movie. It's
yeah.
like, oh, isn't it so funny? He doesn't know if he's going to marry this woman. And also, she's kind of rushing into it because it looks good for her. Animals, the talking ones, start leaving Oz. They have tunneled a hole in the yellow brick road that leads to a place called the Land Beyond Oz. And Elphaba proudly proclaims, "We have no idea what's beyond Oz. How could we possibly know what lies beyond Oz?" And she tries to convince them not to go. But the cowardly lion, who is a lion cub that Elphaba saved at the very beginning of the last movie, he's now grown up to be the cowardly lion, and also grown up to be voiced by Coleman Domingo.
Yeah, for 3 lines?
Yeah,
2 lines?
In his second 3-line cameo of the year, we get 2-time Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo. He convinces the animals that Elphaba is actually evil, and so they all go into the little hole that they've dug for themselves to escape. Okay. Elphaba then visits her sister. Her sister's name is Nessa Rose. Nessa Rose is played by Marissa Bode. She is romantically involved with a munchkin known as Bach. They met in school in the previous movie, and now they're still together, although less happily. Bach is played by Ethan Slater. Bach expresses his desire to... Nessa Rose at this point is the governor of Munchkinland. She's has a governmental seat at the head of Munchkinland.
Yeah, which felt like such a leap. I guess, was there something in the last one that hinted at her being governor? She's governor now. Ethan Slater, I guess, is the apprentice or something, or...
She's just like the first man, I suppose.
And I guess that threw me off guard. I was like, wait, how did she get, you graduate, Shiz University must have quite the...
I forgot
alumni.
it was called Shiz University. Oh my God.
And when I first heard it in the theater, I was like, wait, they go to a school called Shit University? That's awfully that's awfully ironic, but it was Shiz is the name of it. I was just like, this school must have quite the alumni network. Like, if these people are getting jobs this quick, straight out of Shiz, like, I don't know. I'm speechless.
I'm envious.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, and so Bach expresses his desire to leave Nessa Rose. Nessa Rose, in retaliation to that, immediately institutes a travel ban on Munchkins leaving Munchkinland, which is kind of like martial law.
Yeah, because Ethan Slater, Bach. Sorry, I keep forgetting his name's Bach. He tries to leave or something, and then she places a law banning Munchkins from leaving
Immediately. I don't know how long it takes to get from the governor's office to the train station, but it's
Is there
5
no
minutes that she gets this.
congressional district in Munchkinland? Is it just a governor? She just passes that really quickly.
She has all of the power to institute this ridiculous law.
I know, honey, there's other fish in the sea. If you like Bach that much, just confess to him. You don't gotta place a law banning Munchkins from leaving. You can find somebody else.
And it's not like she places that ban to keep him with her romantically, because immediately when she comes back, he's placed into a position of servitude to her. And
yeah, girls will give out hints like that, and guys will still not notice.
So Elphaba visits Nessa. Nessa's kind of broken up about it. Elphaba makes her feel better by making her float. We see her, slippers, they're silver, and when they lift, they turn red. It's a subtle nod to the movie.
Ruby slippers. We all know where that's from. Yeah. Point a finger at the screen moment.
Exactly, yeah. And then Bach comes back because of the travel ban or whatever, and there's a whole scene where he's like, oh my god, I can't believe the Wicked Witch of the West is in my own dining room. And then it gets resolved promptly, only for Nessa to try to recite a spell from the Grimoire. The Grimoire is the only book of magic spells in the entirety of Oz, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I unless there's another one, because obviously we know the Wizard of Oz is a phony, but it's just this triangle-shaped book or whatever.
Well, so
it's the key to all the spells.
It's 2 pentagons stacked on top of each other, and if you can read from it, then you're magical, and if you can't read from it, then you're not magical. And Elphaba can read from it, so she's magical. But Nessa reads from it, and she does it wrong, but she's still magical, so it does a different spell than what she read. Which is, instead of giving Bach's... What'd you say?
Half magical or something? I don't...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
something
witchcraft.
Magical, but only in the way that lets you do it wrong.
So, Glinda would not be able to read from this, right? Am I...
So Glinda in the last movie wasn't able to read from this.
Okay.
And that was the test they used to put the Wizard of Oz to the test, was if he can read from the Grimoire, then he's a real wizard. If not, then he's just a ventriloquist from Ohio or wherever the hell.
Ohio.
I think that's where he's from I don't know.
Only in Ohio. Sorry, that joke is really old.
It's 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was 6 or something like that.
So she recites it wrong. So instead of giving Bach's heart metaphorically to Nessa, it just makes his heart shrink until it's really, really small.
Just like the Grinch.
So he's stumbling around, dying. Elphaba leaves the room, and Elphaba tries to fix Bach, tries to undo the spell, and the best way that she could think to do it, and we see Elphaba leaves and she's like, oh, he's better now. He doesn't have to worry about his heart being the size of a grape anymore. And then Bach runs out after her, and he's the Tin Man.
Oh no.
Oh my god, Wizard of Oz ties. And they kind of recreate The Shining a little bit, at least when the Tin Man's using his axe to break the door down, which I don't know where that came from. And then also the memes of Nessa screaming Bach. It's POV. You pop a turkey into the oven while it's still alive. You're like, Bach, Bach, Bach. It's that's all the memes I've been seeing of that recently. But anyway, Like this was like the one piece of like
The One Piece.
this is like the one piece of like the musical that I did know prior
Oh,
to
really?
watching this movie. I did know that Bach eventually became the Tin Man. My coworker spoiled it to me, so thank him.
I don't think it all makes sense. I just think it's all in the movie.
Yeah.
But so they give explanations for where all the characters from the Wizard of Oz came from. So they give us origins for all of the main cast of the Wizard of Oz. That's the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. And so far we've gotten 2. And it ties a little bit into what the Tin Man's motivation is in the Wizard of Oz, that he wants a heart because his heart was ostensibly broken.
Or shrunk.
Or shrunk?
Or taken. Like, how is he
Or
still
taken?
So does he still have one? Or is he just like full on metal?
Or is it just the size of a grape? I guess.
Yeah, or is he like is it like the Grinch, where is it like his heart was like 2 sizes too small or something? Like, is he the Grinch?
Yeah, maybe he's just really sour. He's like really mad at everything.
Maybe. I mean, that kind of makes sense like towards his motivations later, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We shall. So that ends off Act 1, at least where I have it marked on my notes. What do we think so far in this movie?
At this point, I'm still into it. Like, not having
I
seen
think because like this was the part because like this was still following like the aftermath of the first one, so like
there was still a
at the time,
plot.
like I didn't think
Not to spoil my thoughts.
Yeah, at least they were still building towards something. Like it was still exploring the aftermath of the first one. My only real drawback was the songs just really weren't as memorable this time around.
There were a couple songs. I didn't even bother marking where they were because I didn't remember.
I didn't either. I couldn't tell. Like there's only like 2 or 3 in this movie that I could tell you.
There's probably one
Yeah,
I do
but
have a
I
thought
didn't.
about when we get to the part, and I remember which part it is, and another one that I kind of sort of liked, but I forgot where it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that those 2 songs are For Good and No Good Deed.
Oh, those are mine.
I think that so For Good and No Good Deed are the 2 songs from this.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by the title of the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the movie has done some interesting things up to this point. At this point, what it's trying to be is an exploration of the rise of fascism in the Land of Oz, which is a very, very weird angle to take on a Wizard of Oz story. But you know what? It doesn't not work. We get into Act 2. We'll see how it evolves.
Act 2 of
Nessa runs out after Bach. Nessa wheels out after Bach. Elphaba flies back to the wizard's castle, where the wizard essentially tries to strike her a deal. She should join the government and be another spokesperson alongside Glinda. And Elphaba accepts on the condition that he free the animals. All the animals that he had kept trapped and tried to keep down, he freed them. So he does, but then one of the winged monkeys shows Elphaba that he didn't do that. And there was a whole like song and dance scene before this of like it was very cinematic in the sense that the environments looked pretty. It was very Rainbow Dome, and we
it was
the big machines like
it was like the
jumping around.
Yeah, it was like the wizard and Glinda were trying to convince Elphaba to join their side, just like put aside the differences. And Elphaba's at the side of like, you're still mistreating animals and doing all this other things. I can't join forces with you because of that.
Right.
I couldn't tell you what the song was called. I just remember like that colors and Jeff Goldblum making Jeff Goldblum noises.
in green.
Yeah, he makes Jeff.
Well, they were noises.
Noises movie.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, the well, hello, yes, like that kind of thing, like the signature Jeff Goldblum voice, like it's there.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good bit of casting. I'm not gonna say that it's bad. But then there are animals that are locked up, including Dr. Dillamond, who was a goat that previously served as a professor at Shiz University, and
What? Wait, did you mean to say shit university?
And Elphaba frees all the animals, which then interrupts what was happening in the other room of this castle for some reason. I guess there's only one building in the Land of Oz, but it was the wedding of Fiyero and Glinda happening in the other room. And animals burst in, start wrecking shop around there. And then Fiyero defects at that moment. He goes from Glinda's side to Elphaba's side. And, I mean, he had been trying to track down Elphaba. And now he's with her. he wants to be with her.
Yeah,
and-
because it was hinted in the first movie, and even this movie when he reacts so like shockingly to Glinda's proposal to him, which is weird. Again, weird that it plays out that way, but my little side rant. But it's well established and laid out that Fiyero likes Elphaba, not Glinda.
yes.
And also, yeah, every bride's worst nightmare. You have a bunch of animals just bursting in and causing havoc, and it's just like at that moment, that's when he goes, "Okay, I need to find Elphaba and get this sorted out."
Yeah. So Fiyero defects to Elphaba's side, and now they're romantically entangled. They get back to the Elphaba's little witch's hut in the jungle, and they sing a song, and then Elphaba says,
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, that song. Okay.
Yeah, because
that
I
one.
did
The first
have a
time I
thought on
feel-
it because I felt like they had to adjust the range. They had to shorten the range of that song to make it so little so they could fit in whatever the male actors guys. What was his name?
Jonathan Bailey?
To fit his vocal range, yeah, to fit. It just felt like it just went nowhere. There was no resolution or whatever it's called. AP music theory nerds, if you can comment down below what I'm talking about. Listen to the song. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I did not like it to the point where I actually have something to say about it.
Yeah, very rare, at least in the podcast that we've done.
I don't know. I think that definitely. I agree. The song's a little flat, and I feel like the movie does a lot of finagling to make sure that actors who cannot sing are able to sing.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh plays a character named Madame Morrible in this and the previous movie. She can't sing. She's really bad at it.
Yeah, at least in the first one, like her and Jeff Goldblum, like it was established that like I know Jeff Goldblum kind of sings, but not like professionally at all. But it's just like they kept them in the background. But like this one, they're like much, at least their vocal range are much more noticed, and like I guess even to me it was a little distracting. Like they're not, especially when you have one is live singing, two when you have Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, one of them being a legitimate pop star.
Well, they're both Broadway stars.
Yeah, yes,
Cynthia Erivo
yes.
and Ariana Grande both grew up in the musical theater scene.
That's right.
They can both sing. I have no issues with that casting.
Yeah. Yeah, for the first time, I guess Elphaba says, like, the first time she feels wicked.
And then they have sex.
Yeah.
Logan just yawned.
Well, that's where we're at right now, going forward. Let me know. Those are my legitimate thoughts for what we're going to talk about later. It's going to be personified by a yawn.
Yawning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's an implied sex scene. She says, I feel wicked. They're in bed, fade to black. Cut to a different scene. By the time we catch up with them, naked.
Yeah, or pretty much, yeah.
Well, I mean...
Keep it PG.
Yeah, there's a blanket, but like...
Yeah, there's a blanket. There's a blanket.
You might get a little bit more of Jonathan Bailey than you bargained for.
They're about to do something. They're about to do something wicked.
Well,
Sorry,
I think they've already done
something wicked. Yeah.
For good.
For good.
For good. Yeah, very essential to the plot.
Very, very. So Glinda goes to Madame Morrible, the Michelle Yeoh character, and says, hey, what you should do is you should start a rumor that Nessa Rose is in trouble. And then you'll have Elphaba go to wherever you say the trouble is, and then you can get her. Because Glinda's friends with Elphaba, but she feels very broken up about this whole Fiyero thing. So Morrible's like, I'll take that one step too far, and she summons a tornado. And that happens to be the tornado that sends Dorothy Gale's house. Dorothy in this movie is played by Bethany Weaver, but we never see her face. It sends Dorothy's house from Kansas and lands right on top of Nessa Rose. Remember how Nessa was like looking for Bach? It's the same day as that.
Yeah. Which it feels like two completely different days, or at least completely disconnected.
It's like an hour of the movie in between those two things, and it's like sunset, sundown. She's just been out here looking for Bach for 12 straight hours.
Yeah. Which I know it's weird because like I know it's been quick that we've recapped this, but like that's an hour of the runtime, if not more.
Yeah.
Of just that.
And the house lands on Nessa. She's the Wicked Witch of the East. She had a small musical number about being the Wicked Witch of the East, so we got the name drop in there. No one's upset that we didn't mention the Wicked Witch of the East. Then we cut back to Fiyero, who says, naked in bed, that Elphaba should go to his castle, his abandoned castle on the shore. And it's like, I get that, like, he explains why he has a castle lying around, and he plays it off as a joke, like, oh, we're just very, very rich. But it is a little convenient. And so she goes into the castle, and then Fiyero is captured and beaten and flogged and questioned and interrogated.
And crucified
Just
in a
out of
cornfield.
nowhere.
Yeah, crucified.
Quite literally crucified.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
And although all that time, Elphaba is casting a spell so that he shan't get hurt.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the song "No Good Deeds,"
that's
that song. And then even before then, they have the lead scene from Duel of the Fates. You got Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo lightsaber fighting or doing whatever. It was kind of funny, but like
I did like.
There's
No
also
Good
just like
Deeds
they're
as
just
a
like hitting
song.
sticks, like no, stop, don't do that. And it's just like I couldn't help but laugh, which I guess that was the point. But like in my mind, I was just like, could you imagine this with like Duel of the Fates in the background? But yeah, when Elphaba sings No Good Deed, like I think that's probably one of the more well-known songs from the second half. It is very well done. I mean, Cynthia Erivo and her vocals are great.
They didn't have to like condense the range. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Cynthia Erivo's a good singer. I think that they're great at singing, and if you watch the Defying Gravity scene from the first Wicked,
Oh my god, yeah, it's incredible.
Like,
yeah.
they're matching each other, no doubt.
Because it's like, you know, a crescendo to something, like, which is like for me a big sell in music, like in big sell in musicals. Like I don't care for too many of them, but like when you have music numbers that convey the character's emotions, that's when you can sell it. At least a memorable song that conveys the character's emotions, and you have good choreography in the side of that. Which we'll get to that later on. Is my specific thoughts with that, but
I will say the movie could have ended
in terms of
there.
just watching a musical. Yeah. And yet it doesn't. We still have another act to go.
45 more agonizing minutes left.
Oh my gosh, let's go through it then.
Yeah, this is where the movie starts to go downhill for me, if you can believe it.
Yeah, same for me as well. I think there was 45 minutes left of the movie.
Yeah, no, legitimately, this is the beginning of Act 3.
It
This
felt
point-
like 3 hours.
I think it's either before or after this. So sitting in the theater and just like, wow, let's get a musical number. And a couple minutes go by, I look over, Logan is like dead asleep.
I'm legit asleep.
Couldn't help but laugh. I just saw like it was like watching my dad during the opening of Gladiator 2. Like loud, like huge musical number. I look over and like bro was out, and I just couldn't help but laugh.
If you for some reason see the movie
Yeah,
yourself after No Good Deeds and you see an entire scene and it's just dark, no, that is when eyes shut. Listening still, but like,
If
as
you're
soon as
wondering
the
where
light
you
comes
lost
back on, I'm
20
like,
minutes in the
"Ugh."
middle of this movie, it's after No Good Deed.
Yeah.
So as you know, Dorothy will get Nessa's silver shoes, and Dorothy and the gang go to the wizard. She picks up the Cowardly Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man along the way. We really don't get to see anything of them.
Yeah, it just kind of assumes that we've seen The Wizard of Oz, which it's from it's from 1939, so like, yeah, which is a good assumption. I mean, it's one of the most watched movies, I feel like.
I have seen it.
Have you not seen?
I've never seen The Wizard of Oz.
You haven't?
Oh no.
I've read the book. I've never seen
dare
the movie.
you not see The Wizard
I've never seen
of
the
Oz?
movie. I've read the book. I've never
How
seen.
dare you've not
How
seen
could you?
a better Frank Baum adaptation, The Wonderful Land of Oz. Which I will say,
The
if you know
Return
what that
to
is, it's
Oz,
still
that's-
better.
Oh yeah,
than
the
this.
Oz. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bunch of that stuff with Dorothy, it's just like they just skip over and they like fill in the gaps from this movie that you should have seen, which like obviously for people, I feel like most people who are watching Wicked have seen The Wizard of Oz. So it's just like in a sense, I guess so, but like in terms of the movie,
I mean, it's one of
chunks
those
are
things that's
ripped
like
out.
so popular in the mainstreams that you probably have to know it, even if you haven't really watched the movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
in a
that
way.
part is fair. Yeah,
In a way.
that part is fair.
That being said, we still do skip over. We never get to spend any time with Tin Man, Scarecrow, or the Cowardly Lion beyond those like 2 lines that each of them get.
Yeah, Coleman Domingo has 3 lines in the entire movie. It's insane to me.
Yeah. 3 lions for
I
Coleman Domingo.
I almost said 3 lions, and I was like, he's playing a lion.
He's playing a single lion.
Yeah, he's playing a single one.
Dorothy and her bunch of friends go to the wizard. The wizard says to go kill Elphaba and bring back her broom. Elphaba is told by one of the flying monkeys that Fiyero has died. And Glinda, upon hearing that the wizard has told Dorothy to go kill Elphaba, has also gone to Elphaba's castle. Meanwhile, there's a riot in the streets in which the Tin Man is giving an impassioned speech about how he's out for blood revenge against this witch.
I mean, I know he didn't have a heart, but Jesus. Like, I know he's made of metal, but, like, they really make it clear that he's heartless.
He's campaigning like Upton Sinclair. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the politics in this movie is crazy.
And so Glinda's going to the castle, but then Elphaba just nabs Dorothy. Just like grabs her. Like they're going down the road to go to the castle, and Elphaba just grabs Dorothy and keeps her in the basement. And then he hears that Fiyero's dead, and Glinda shows up. Immediately upon hearing that Fiyero's dead, Elphaba gives up.
Isn't that how it went
Surrenders
in
immediately.
the movie Elphaba, where the Wicked Witch just nabs Dorothy? I kind of forgot how it went.
I don't remember either. It's been a while since I've seen that. Because where did aren't the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion there? Or are they not? Are they not in the final? Yeah, I don't remember.
And that's the thing. Like, we spend so much time figuring out who the Cowardly Lion and who the Tin Man and not so much the Scarecrow are. But we don't spend any time with them, and Dorothy is still the most important character, but she's not. We don't know anything about. We don't even see her face.
Yeah,
we don't know anything about her.
Which, like, in the musical, they do that. So, like, there's a sense they do that in the musical.
I don't care. It makes for a worse movie.
Yeah.
So I don't like it.
Yeah, for me, I'll get into more later on, like, my certain thoughts on that, but it's one that's just like.
Yeah.
Like,
either show her face or just
if you're
not
going for
include
this
her at
movie to
all.
see Dorothy, like, this is like expect to see, like, pieces of it. You're not going to see the full thing.
Yeah, and it just... Elphaba immediately gives up. She fills up a bucket of water. It was kind of set up that she was so impure of heart that a bucket of water could melt her. Although, if that were the case, then wouldn't the Tin Man now also? Because the whole point of The Wizard of Oz is that the Tin Man wanted a heart, but he had one all along.
Yeah, like all of them they had.
All of them they had inside them all along. But no, in this movie, the Tin Man physically does not have a heart.
Well, I mean,
He
it's
needs
shrunk,
one.
I guess. It could make sense.
Yeah, let me guess. The Tin Man also hates Christmas. Full on.
You
on
are
Grinch.
so obsessed with turning this into the Grinch.
But it's the same setup. His heart like shrunk 2 sizes too small.
It was the other way around.
I don't know.
in the
Like I just see the
Grinch.
parallels there. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't have a heart. Yeah. So Glinda and Elphaba sing "For Good," which is the other song you probably heard. For Good. It's called Wicked for Good. And yeah, Elphaba fills up a pot of water for Dorothy to throw on her. Dorothy throws it on her. She dies. Glinda is now like, "Oh, you bastards! You killed Kenny!" And then
You killed Kenny.
runs back to.
Oh crap! They killed Kenny again.
Runs back to the wizard to reveal that because of this little vial of green liquid, actually the wizard is Elphaba's biological father.
That
but
made
that's
no
not,
sense to
But
me.
that's not all. There's more. Glinda now holds the power to kick the wizard out. Now that the wizard's out, she retains power of Oz, and she's able to imprison Madame Morrible, and the wizard goes up through a hot air balloon to a land beyond Oz, and also Elphaba only ever had her magical powers because she was a child of a person who was beyond Oz and a person who was in Oz, as if that makes any fucking sense. And then she's still alive!
Yeah, she comes out of a trapdoor, which, like, first of all, I do want to say, the entire time that Glinda and Elphaba sing For Good, poor Dorothy's just locked in a cupboard the whole time. Like, is she, like, vibing down there? Is she, like, can she not hear it? Is she, like, deaf to the whole thing?
When you're kidnapped
and then,
with the music
and then
lit on
Glinda
fire.
gets put in a wardrobe and watches the third act of The Wizard of Oz
Basically,
play out, like,
yeah.
the third act of The Wizard of Oz, and then the Scarecrow takes Elphaba out of the trapdoor.
Not just the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow is Fiyero.
Yeah, which is Fiyero, which, you know, he wasn't crucified, he was turned into a scarecrow, which weird for not saying he can't. Wasn't the whole thing like he can't die? Was that why he was turned into that?
Because Elphaba cursed or like put a spell on him that they wouldn't be able to hurt him, and then they wouldn't be able to kill him.
Yeah, it was weird. They put him in a tomb for 3
for
days, and then he
good reason, I
resurrected.
guess.
Yeah, he resurrected.
Also, the Scarecrow being a member of that bunch doesn't like make any sense, given that that group is built of people that now have blood revenge out for Elphaba, and he doesn't. But then also, it doesn't tie into what he wants out of the situation. He wants a brain.
Yeah, but I didn't understand the parallels. Like, if that's Fiero, then why would he want a brain? Wouldn't he want like?
I mean, that's what it was in the
something?
original, so I still don't know how that ties it together, but
It doesn't feel like it fits. I guess that's my issue with the second act. It's just like it doesn't like the ties to the Wizard of Oz. Like they don't.
it's like they just
makes me question.
slapped in the original book just for the sake of it, but they didn't actually think to tie it in together in any coherent way. So I think
Yeah.
they really they went half and half for it. That's what I can say about it. Like either put it in more so where it goes in with the story better, or just not include it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I agree. They treat it like it's a Marvel movie at the end of a Marvel movie where it's like, oh, remember this character from comics? And it's like, no, and also you're not building an interesting universe just by putting Harry Styles at the end of Eternals.
Yeah, it's just like in a sense like this one made the universe feel so small. It's just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everyone has personal connections with everybody else. And it's just like was it Emerald City or whatever,
The
Munchkin
Emeralds,
Land or
yeah.
something like it feels so small. Like the world of Oz just feels very self-contained.
Yeah.
And it's just like having characters turn into other characters that we already know. It's just like I watched the original Wizard of Oz. Because it's just
Yeah.
like I didn't ask where the Scarecrow or the Tin Man or the Cowardly Lion. I didn't ask who they were before. I just assumed they were fun characters that existed in the world of Oz, and that Dorothy came across them. Which
Right.
also wasn't the idea of the Wizard of Oz that it was just all a dream from
So-
Dorothy.
I wrote this in my review of Wicked for Good on Letterboxd, but part of the allure of The Wizard of Oz to me is that this is not the most important story that's ever happened in Oz.
Yeah.
No one's like, what the hell, a talking scarecrow? Now that's odd. And it's like, it's the most important thing that's ever happened to these characters because they learned something about themselves, but it's not important to the Land of Oz as a whole. And this movie tries to make it important to the Land of Oz as a whole in a way that dilutes their characters and actually makes Oz just feel less alluring as a place. I'm less interested in
Yeah.
it because it's just every character that you put on screen is already someone that I was expected to know from before.
Yeah. Also, the way this movie wraps up is bizarre. Like, what's the land that Elphaba and Fiero
Finally.
go off
So
to?
Elphaba and Fiero.
Which ending
it
are you
turns out-
talking about? The first one after
Which end? Oh my god! At
after
this
For
point,
Good, or like the
at this point,
900th
Logan was
one,
still asleep.
like
He wakes
40
up and he goes,
minutes
"Oh
in.
my god! Can this movie?" Yeah, it's just like yeah.
This movie,
yeah, which ending
this
are you
movie has so
talking
many
about?
endings. It's like it's like the Return of the King, where it's like
It's ridiculous. It's
Every
ridiculous.
scene in the last 10 minutes can be an ending.
I was about to crash out. Like I looked over at Logan. I just heard, "Oh my god!" And then I just hear him like gripping his seat. And it's just like,
I was
it's
talking
almost
with my
done.
mom about like that
Hopefully.
particular aspect of it, and she said it kind of reminded her of one Godzilla movie from like the 90s with Matthew Broderick. I don't know, Jesse, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, that's the 1998 Godzilla.
Yeah, the Roland Emmerich one.
The worst
Yeah.
Godzilla movie ever made. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and unironically, the first one I ever saw.
Yeah. No, that movie's dog. If you want to watch it, don't. Save yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Elphaba, as it turns out, survived. She returns from a trapdoor. Fiero, as the Scarecrow, brings her to the land beyond Oz. The land beyond Oz looks more like the land from Dune than anything.
I thought you were gonna say the land before time. I was like, that would have been a very different.
Which is just it's so weird.
Why do you have
Because
to
it's like
reveal that? Like
they
I
start out the
didn't
movie
need
by saying they
an
don't
image of that.
Oz. So the first 30 minutes of the movie, we don't know what's beyond Oz. The first hour of the movie, we know exactly what's beyond Oz. And not just what's beyond Oz, but what being from beyond Oz means for Oz itself. And then, in the last minute, we don't know what's beyond Oz.
Yeah, it's
And it's like,
it's very clunky. Like,
it's so clunky. I would
it's
call it
very
a
clunky.
plot hole. I don't
I agree.
like
I
calling
agree.
things plot holes because I find that most
Clunky.
movies aren't internally inconsistent with themselves. They don't present a rule and then break it later on. This movie does.
Yeah.
This movie does. And then the Grimmery activates for Glinda, and then credits roll.
Yeah, and then that's the movie. And what's even more shocking is that this one, despite everything that we've talked about, is shorter than Act 1.
Yeah.
Act 1 is close to 3 hours.
This is 2 hours.
I would say Act 1 for me, like the first one, like part of what I loved about it is that it had a clear beginning, middle, end. It actually felt like it flowed a lot better. There was better music, much better music, cool choreography, and it felt like it flowed a lot more. This one was just so clunky, so choppy. And the first one, walking out of the first one, I asked myself, I was like, do I actually like musicals? Because I thought I was good. I walked out of this one and said, nope, I don't think so. There's some I do like, but
It felt
after
like
watching
to
this one,
me,
I think it's just some musicals are executed well.
it felt like to me there were too
Hey, go
many
ahead.
cooks in the kitchen, and each of them wrote their own ending for it, and they just said, "No, we're just gonna include all of them."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
like
it's
my main
just-
gripe with it, if you can't tell
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. To me, this movie works a lot better when it's following up the aftermath of Wicked than it is setting up the events for The Wizard of Oz. Because when it does that, I feel like that's when the movie completely falls on its face. And it's just like, it doesn't feel like it flows very well. Like they're setting up, again, like Jesse was saying, it's just like, it feels like they don't, it feels like, like they don't know what's beyond Oz, and all of a sudden they do, and then Dorothy comes in out of nowhere very haphazardly, and then events from The Wizard of Oz are just randomly shoehorned in to tie it to The Wizard of Oz in some way. And part of me, after this movie, like after the credits rolled on this one, I actually kind of preferred if the ending of the first Wicked stayed that way. Like maybe you don't need part 2, you just need, because the end of the first movie, Defying Gravity, which is probably the most beloved song from the musical, and then you have Elphaba fly off into the distance. It's established that she's the Wicked Witch of the West, and that Glinda gets taken under the wing of Madame Morrible and the Wizard of Oz, and you just end it there, and you're like, okay, you can piece together the rest. Where this one just feels like it's 2 different movies. One's a follow up to Wicked, one's a prequel to the Wizard of Oz, and it just feels like both are in competition with themselves, which is really disappointing to me.
Yeah, it's so disjointed.
Very disjointed.
Because at the beginning it wants to be that exploration of the rise of fascism in Oz, which is still a weird angle. It could work.
I mean, yeah, there's the animal cruelty side as well, which, I mean...
Right, I mean, the animal cruelty side, but that maps kind of just onto a fascist, like, dictatorship already. It's just, instead of dealing with the real concepts of the social contracts of race and religion and other things that people use to prejudice against other people, it's animals, and it's like easy to understand. And again, this isn't aimed towards an Orwellian scholar. This is a Wicked movie. What are we talking about here? But it's still aiming at something really, really heavy, and I appreciate that. And then it tries to move into being a character piece about the relationship between Glinda and Elphaba. And it kind of works as that, not super much, but it kind of does. And then it moves into being the entirety of The Wizard of Oz, but also we're making it dark and screwed up because fuck your childhood. And I'm like, I don't, at a certain point, you've lost me.
Yeah, because just like, I feel like the first third half of it had me. And especially, I will say, Wicked Part 1 is about Elphaba. This one's, I think, more about Glinda-ish. At least for the first hour, it feels like it's about Glinda, and then it kind of just divulges into God knows what. At least with the Wizard, like the second hour of this movie turns into let's haphazardly set up the Wizard of Oz, and it's just like, okay, like it doesn't feel like that was there. And I will say, like, production wise, I mean, John M. Chu as a director is firing on all cylinders. There's we didn't mention this earlier, but there was I can't remember what the musical number was called with Glinda in her tower, and John M. Chu does a thing where he's playing with mirrors, and it's just like that stuff score where it transitions to mirrors like so seamlessly. And there's a thing where even the first one and with the second one, it's just like there's a lot of tricks that are done here that you can't do on Broadway, and I appreciate that if you're going to adapt this into a movie, make it feel like a movie, don't make it feel like a stage play.
Yeah, sure.
And I think the movie, like the first movie, felt more like a movie. The second one felt more like a stage play, which was a little disappointing. And even this time around, the songs here, save for like, I can count on maybe one hand or one finger. they're just not as memorable.
Yeah, I small spoiler for my ratings. I didn't like this movie. This movie made me
Small
very
spoiler.
upset
What
because
makes you say that?
yeah,
I wonder.
it just it does things that might work on their own, but then don't work as a movie. Like as a 2-hour experience, you're walking into this expecting to, I don't know, watch Wicked for good. You're not ending up with that, really. You're ending up with this weird, disjointed mess that's as much a takedown of fascism as it is a bunch of people's idea of what the Wizard of Oz would look like if L. Frank Baum wrote it for, instead of 10-year-olds, but 13-year-olds. And it's just... it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It really, really, sincerely doesn't work. And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of that is, you can chalk it up to being Act 2 of the play is like that, but fix it.
Yeah, it's
Fix
just-
the play.
It's just like, just because it's adapting Act 2 does not make it good. Like, Act 2 even, like, is notorious for not being very good. And it's just like, I guess for me, it just feels like you should have just done some of, like, explore more of Glinda as a character, since the first one explored more of Elphaba, and just have, like, the first half of this movie be part 2. But even then, it's like, that's only, like, what, you could tell that in, like, what, 20 minutes?
I think that
If not, like, it just feels
it's
like an
something we
epilogue.
talked about. This could have worked as a 15-minute short film at the most. And I
Yeah,
would be fine
it
with
feels like this movie just felt like an extended epilogue, and like 2 movies just crammed into one. One of them is The Wizard of Oz, which you can literally go back and just watch the original Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it's a collection of epilogues, and it's just like, I don't know if a lot of this was necessary. I would have preferred if the first Wicked, ended the way it did. I would have had no problem with it at all.
It really does feel like every scene in this movie could have ended it.
Yeah, almost.
And it just keeps going and going and going. And there's a point at which you're like, okay, I get it. Like, it's a 2-hour movie, right? I'm sitting down for this. I'm not expecting it to end within the first 5 minutes. But then there's still 30 minutes to go, and we're already losing a lot of steam. And you're like, okay. And
It's
then
a
you fall
slog.
asleep. And then you
Well,
wake up.
I wonder
and
who
the
did
movie's
that.
Still going.
I wonder. Oh my god, I was dying when I looked over and I just see like the
The
eyes closed and just like, oh my god, this is
the dad nap.
the
Yeah.
the dad nap. At least that's what my dad usually does.
I think that's a dad thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess overall, like, this movie, it was really disappointing to me.
Yeah.
The first one was such a surprise, and this one was such a disappointment, which is kind of funny how that works. And unfortunately, the title, Wicked for Good, does not really summarize this one very well. At least for
More
me.
like Wicked for not good. Am I right?
Wicked for not very good.
Wicked, for goodness sake, please.
I
Let it
didn't
end
think this
already.
movie was a total disaster. Yeah. I didn't think this movie was a total disaster. I think there's a lot of parts to it that I think pretty well. But I think the movie as a whole was a really odd experience. And especially following up the first one, I feel like it was a gigantic step down.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't
I agree.
had no idea like what to expect from this movie, I'm not the demographic for this movie. I'm not like a fan of musicals in general. Like, not that I'm not a fan, but I just don't l- watch a lot of musicals. But that being said, this still disappointed me a lot. Like, I wanted to see a good musical
Right.
out of this.
Yeah, and as I'm sure most of you can probably tell that us three we're not the target audience for this type. So if you're someone who's like passionate, like loves Wicked, and is just like a huge fan, you'll probably enjoy this movie. But for us, just like casual movie fans, and 2 of us watched the first one, just walked into this one hoping it to be a good time. It's not one that I think either one of us cared for particularly much, and for me, actually disappointed me a good bit considering how embarrassingly high I had it on my most anticipated list for this year. So I don't know. Not a great movie in my mind.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the negative reviews I've given on the weekly spoiler review have been a result of movies not knowing what they have. Biopics not realizing necessarily how awfully the female characters in their films are treated, or That was the case with the Smashing Machine. That was the case with Springsteen. You could argue that was even the case with Tron Ares, where they thought they were doing something good, but they didn't realize that the narrative structure they had chosen made this story worse.
Yeah, or say, like minus the biopic part.
In this movie, it doesn't feel unintentional. It feels like everything that they did was with a degree of intentionality, and they knew what they were doing. It's just bad. It can be on purpose and still bad. Yeah, that's what the musical was like. It's still bad.
Yeah.
This is not a good movie. This is not a fun movie to watch. This doesn't... I barely think about this movie afterwards. I almost forgot I watched it the night that I watched it. It just doesn't do a lot.
Yeah.
And it does so much while not doing anything. And it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
And I don't like this movie.
Yeah. And even for me, my mom and my brother, who maybe or maybe not will listen to this, they were not too pleased with me when I found out that I saw this movie without them. My mom looked at me, she's like, you saw Wicked without me? I was like, I'm sorry, because I took them to see Wicked Part 1 last year. So yeah, I may have to sit through this one again. Yeah. I might have to sit through this one again. So maybe to move up, maybe to move down. I doubt I'll move up.
Salute to you.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's like the can you stay awake kind of thing. So I guess final ratings.
Yeah, do we have anything else to say before we move into our final ratings?
I think we've exhausted everything we have, and we could keep going for 45 minutes and then end this podcast as many times as we want.
We
But
can end it. Yeah,
just
we
to
can end
stay
it
in
5
theme
different
with
times.
the movie. But I
Yeah.
say we go into ratings and not.
Right. I climb out of my trap door at the end of the movie to be whisked away by the Scarecrow into the blessed world of Denis Villeneuve's Dune, as I give it 2 stars out of 5.
2, wow. For me, slightly higher. Upon initial reaction, this was a 3. I looked at myself and I was just like, do I really like it that much? I'm gonna give this one a 2.5. The first one I rated insanely high when I first watched it, and part of me still stands with that. Maybe might knock it down a smidge. This one just didn't really do much for me, and kind of compromise. I didn't really compromise the things that I liked about the first one, but also kind of it was just a very odd experience. So a 2.5 for me.
Yeah, your guys' ratings is kind of higher than I expected you to give it. I'm giving this a solid 1. A 1 star
Oh
for
my
Jeff
God.
Goldblum. This was just, I would not want to sit through this ever again. It was just that boring. Like, I like a bad movie every now and then, but not if it's just a snooze fest. This is exactly what this was.
Yeah, bad and boring are definitely a bad pairing. Yeah, I will say after watching this, I could watch an entire movie of just Jeff Goldblum playing the Wizard of Oz, like him and his antics and his noises.
Totally, yeah.
I could watch a whole movie of him just doing that. Just like play the wizard, yes, and the wizard, and it's just like I could just watch a whole movie of him doing that.
We need a Pixar short for that.
A Pixar short.
Yeah, good. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
That's the best part of the movie. The best part of the movie is Jeff Goldblum's performance. Everyone's performances are generally good.
Yeah, like
I don't-
Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande kill it. Especially vocal wise, I think they're both great.
It's the reason that we do ratings is because when we talk, a lot of times some of the interesting things that we have to say are the more negative, or some of the interesting things we have to say are the more positive.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
we didn't talk a lot about the performances in this movie because they were good but uninteresting.
Yeah, where it's just
So
like
it wouldn't be fun to just go through every actor and say they were good, they were good, they were good. But the ratings are just our overall vibe on how we feel about the movie. So yeah, it's not a complete wash. If you just really, really, really love Ariana Grande, you're gonna get Ariana Grande. You're just not gonna get an interesting story.
yeah, or like if you really, really, really love Wicked, you're gonna probably love this movie. And also, like after watching this movie, I can still say John M. Chu is still he still has a lot of talent. Like I mentioned the mirror scene earlier, I pointed that out because it stood out to me. He can direct, and I feel like with both adaptations, more so with the first one, like he really brings a sense of this is a movie, this is not a stage musical, and it's just like there's a lot you can do in a movie that you can't do in a stage musical. So it was impressive to see. It doesn't make the movie entirely great, and obviously we can give it our rating.
Yeah, and I'd
And
say
not
that
to repeat the yeah.
I'd say though those little tidbits of really cool cinematography of the movie is kind of what gives me a lower rating. Because you're gonna give me those little minutes of what this movie could have been, and then stretch it out with everything else? No, That's not what I want to see. Like,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair way of thinking about it as well. I think I marveled more at the technical aspects and figured that they were really, really good, and that gives the movie a little bit something. That if it didn't have that, like if there was really nothing to latch onto in this movie, my rating would be a lot lower. That being said, y'all want to move into letterbox plugs?
Let's do it.
let's do it. Yeah.
All right, I am Threnv on Letterbox. That is THRNV. I have reviewed Wicked for Good, and by the time this comes up, who knows what I'll have reviewed? Probably John Carpenter's Memoirs of an Invisible Man. That's fun.
Yeah. My letterbox is MJ Spiegel, all lowercase. I'm in the process of writing a couple reviews. I'm doing some catch up from the last month of November, so be on the lookout for those. Hopefully they'll be out by the time this podcast comes out, as well as my review for Wicked for Good, if you guys want to check that out as well.
And check me out at Invaded Films. So yeah, that's my letterbox, and I will. I mean, I have enough time to catch up on all the episodes we've done. That's probably where I'm going to focus most when I go around to writing my reviews, and probably hopefully match him up with what I gave him on our previous episodes. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great. With all that being said, to close out all 5 endings of Wicked for Good, roll credits, roll credits, roll credits, roll credits, and roll credits.